allows the flow of blood from left ventricle into the systemic aorta. So, finally, there are 4 valves present in the heart. They are tricuspid valve, bicuspid valve, pulmonary valve and aortic valve. This tricuspid valve allows the flow of blood from right auricle into the right ventricle, and this mitral valve allows the flow of blood from left auricle into the left ventricle, and in between the at the beginning of the pulmonary aorta there is one valve present. That valve is the pulmonary valve. This is the pulmonary valve. This pulmonary valve allows the flow of blood from right ventricle into the pulmonary aorta, and this is the aortic valve. This aortic valve allows the flow of blood from left ventricle into the systemic aorta. So, now we will see in detail now. See, if we see this in detail about the valves in the heart. This is the tricuspid valve. It is present in between the right auricle and right ventricle, and its function is to allow the flow of blood from right auricle into the right ventricle. And next, bicuspid valve. It is present in between the left auricle and left ventricle, and its function is to pump the blood from left auricle into the left ventricle. And next is the pulmonary valve. Pulmonary valve pumps the blood from the right ventricle into the pulmonary aorta, and this is the aortic valve. Aortic valve is present at the origin of the systemic aorta, and this aortic valve allows the flow of blood from left ventricle into the systemic aorta. So, this is about the valves, and we know that the heart receives blood and it also pumps the blood, but how it receives and it pumps the blood to different body organs? It is by contraction and relaxation of the heart, and this contraction and relaxation of the heart is called as one heartbeat. This contraction and relaxation of the heart is called as one heartbeat, and this contraction phase is called as systole. This contraction phase is called as systole. Now, this is about the mechanism. We are learning about mechanism now. Mechanism. See, this contraction phase is called as systole. This contraction phase is called as systole, and relaxation phase is called as diastole. Relaxation phase is called as diastole. So, the heart contracts and relaxes 70 to 80 times per a minute. The heart contracts and relaxes 70 to 80 times per a minute. This contraction and relaxation is called as one heartbeat. This contraction and relaxation is called as one heartbeat. But we know that the heart contracts and relaxes. But how it is contracting and relaxing? It is by the cardiac muscle which is present in the heart. It is by the cardiac muscle which is present in the heart. This cardiac muscle is responsible for the contraction and relaxation of the heart. The cardiac muscle which is present in the heart is responsible for the contraction and relaxation of the heart, and this contraction and relaxation is responsible for pumping of the blood. But the contraction and relaxation does not take place at one time in the auricles and in the ventricles. In the auricles contract at one time and the ventricles contract later. For example, if we see the auricles, the right auricle receives the deoxygenated blood from different body organs, and left auricle receives the oxygenated blood from the lungs. So, when these auricles are fully filled with blood, the left auricle is filled with deoxygenated blood and the right auricle is filled with oxygenated blood. After fully filled with blood, they began to contract. The auricles began to contract. When the auricles begin to contract, the walls which were present in between the right auricle and right ventricle, left auricle and left ventricle begin to open. So, when these walls gets open, the blood from the auricles into the auricles, it flows into the ventricle. So, then the auricles began to relax somewhat. So, this stage is called as auricular diastole. So, it is called as auricular diastole. Auricular diastole. Next, see, when the blood from the auricles enters into the ventricles, the walls which were opened gets closed. So, when they are closed, the auricles again begin to fill with the deoxygenated blood with right auricle and oxygenated blood with left auricle. So, they begin to close again. So, when the blood, after the walls gets closed, the auricles are fully filling with blood. So, again they begin to contract. So, this is called as auricular systole. This is called as auricular systole. Auricular systole. So, after that, the blood which enters into the ventricles from the auricles, after the ventricles are fully filled with deoxygenated blood with right ventricle and oxygenated blood with left ventricle. So, they began to contract. The ventricles also began to contract, and that phase is called as ventricular systole, and that phase is called as ventricular systole. So, this auricular diastole, ventricular systole and auricular diastole, auricular systole and ventricular systole, these three together is called as one heartbeat. These three together is called as one beat. This auricular diastole, auricular systole and ventricular systole, these three together is called as one heartbeat. So, finally, there are two phases in the heart. One is systolic phase and the other one is diastolic phase. Those in a minute, the auricles and the ventricles contract and relax 70 to 80 times in a minute. So, this contraction and relaxation of the heart is called as one heartbeat. This is about the mechanism of the heart. So, next, see, the heart receives blood from the different organs of the body, and from the heart it goes to the lungs for the oxygenation, and from the lungs it enters into the heart again, and from the heart it is supplied to the different body organs. So, it is in a circuit. It is like a circle, and this circle is called as circuit, and this circle is called as circuit. And the blood from the different body organs enters into the heart, and from there it goes to the lungs, and there it gets oxygenated, and from the lungs it comes to the heart, and from there it goes to different body organs. It means the blood is passing through the heart 2 times. So, when the blood passes 2 times through the heart, it is called as double circuit circulation. It is called as double circuit circulation, and such type of heart is called as double circuit heart. We are learning about circulation now. So, when the blood passes 2 times through the heart, it is called as double circuit circulation, and it is called as double circuit heart. So, the blood, deoxygenated blood from the different body organs comes to the right auricle, and from the right auricle it enters into the right ventricle, and from right ventricle it goes to the lungs, and there the pulmonary artery carries the deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle to the lungs. This is the pulmonary artery. This pulmonary artery carries the deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle to the lungs, and this type of circulation is called as pulmonary circulation. There are two types of circulations I said now. One is pulmonary circulation and the second type is systemic circulation. In the systemic circulation, the oxygenated blood from the lungs enters into the left auricle by the pulmonary vein. This is the pulmonary vein. This pulmonary vein carries the oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left auricle, and from the left auricle it enters into the left ventricle, and from there it is carried by the aorta to the different body organs. Which aorta? You are right, systemic aorta. Systemic aorta, from the systemic aorta the oxygenated blood is pumped to the different body organs. So, totally in human the circulation is double circuit circulation. The heart is double circuit heart, and there are in the double circuit circulation there are two circulations present. One is the pulmonary circulation and the other one is the systemic circulation. So, in pulmonary circulation the deoxygenated blood from the different body organs comes to the right auricle, and from there it enters into the right ventricle, and from there the pulmonary artery carries the deoxygenated blood to the lungs, and from the lungs the deoxygenated blood gets oxygenated in the lungs, and from the lungs the oxygenated blood is pumped to the left auricle, and from the left auricle it enters into the left ventricle, and here the pulmonary vein carries the oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left auricle. This is the pulmonary vein, and from there the systemic aorta pumps the blood to the different body organs. So, this is about the circulation. We will see in detail about the circulation. We have learned about circulation now. So, we will see in detail about the circulation. See, in the pulmonary circulation, the blood from the different body organs except from the lungs, the deoxygenated blood from the different body organs enters into the by the superior and inferior vena cava. The deoxygenated blood from the upper parts of the body is carried by the superior vena cava, and the deoxygenated blood from the lower parts of the body is carried by the inferior vena cava to the right auricle, and from the right auricle it enters into the right ventricle through the pulmonary artery. From the right auricle the deoxygenated blood enters into the right ventricle by the pulmonary artery, and from the pulmonary artery carries the deoxygenated blood to the lungs, and in the lungs the blood gets oxygenated, and in the lungs the blood gets oxygenated, and then the oxygenated blood is carried by the pulmonary vein to the left auricle, and the oxygenated blood is carried by the pulmonary vein to the left auricle. So, this is about the pulmonary circulation. And next, systemic circulation. Systemic circulation, the blood from the lungs, the oxygenated blood from the lungs is carried by the pulmonary vein to the left auricle. The oxygenated blood from the lungs is carried by the pulmonary vein to the left auricle, and from the left auricle the oxygenated blood enters into the left ventricle. The oxygenated blood enters into the left ventricle, and from there it is carried by the arteries. It means the systemic aorta. From the left ventricle the systemic aorta pumps blood to the different body organs, and from there the superior and after the oxygenated blood is pumped to the different body organs, and the deoxygenated blood which was produced in the tissues of the body was carried by the superior and inferior vena cava to the right auricle. This is about the systemic circulation. So, now we have learnt about the structure and function of human heart. In structure and function of human heart, it involves in external structure, internal structure, mechanism and circulation. So, we will see in detail now. Again, once we will recall what we have learnt. See, first we require many things about like clothes and etc. And if we see there are many blood vessels present in our human body. Two types of blood vessels are present. One are arteries and the other one is veins. One is arteries and the other one is veins. Arteries carries the oxygenated blood and veins carries the deoxygenated blood, and all this is pumped by circulated in the blood vessels, and it is pumped by the heart, and heart is the chief organ in the circulatory system. And there are the evolution of heart has taken place in different ways in different animals. So, the human heart is the well developed organ. So, now we will see about the structure of the heart. First, external structure. If we see the external structure, the heart is hollow shaped organ, it is broad towards up and apex towards down, and it has two deep grooves on it. One is vertically and the other one is horizontally, and it was covered by the pericardium, and in between the layers of the pericardium there is a space present, and that space is filled with the fluid. That fluid is called as pericardial fluid, and that fluid is called as pericardial fluid. That fluid protects the heart from sudden shocks and blows. And next, if we see the heart, it has two deep grooves on it. One is horizontally and the other one is vertically. By seeing these two deep grooves, we will know that the heart is internally divided into chambers. If we see the internal structure of the heart is divided into four chambers: auricles and ventricles, and the auricles are two: right auricle, left auricle. Ventricles are two: right ventricle, left ventricle. In between the two auricles there is one wall present, and that wall is called as interauricular septum, This interauricular septum divides the right auricle and left auricle. Next, there is another wall present in between the two ventricles. That wall is called as interventricular septum. This interventricular septum prevents the mixing of deoxygenated blood in the right ventricle and oxygenated blood in the left ventricle. And next, there are valves present in the heart. They are hello.
I am Ruchika.
Ask the question, please.
What is systole and diastole?
See, you have asked a good question. For the functioning of heart, the heart contracts and relaxes for pumping the blood. No, this contraction is called as systole and relaxation is called as diastole. Hello, thank you. And next, ask the question, please. Hello.
Okay, I am Jinesh from Atnura.
Ask the question.
I would like to ask the one question.
Okay.
Okay, what is a bypass surgery?
Bypass surgery.
Yes.
See, the coronary artery which brings the blood to the heart muscles was filled with fat and cholesterol due to overeating of oil foods, and that fat was removed by the surgery. That is called as bypass surgery. Okay, thank you. Hello. And next, the heart is hello.
Hello.
Ask the question, please.
Hello, I had a doubt. What causes heart attack?
What causes heart attack?
Yes, what causes heart attack?
You asked a good question. See, the coronary artery brings the blood to the heart muscle, no? that heart muscle sometimes gets blocked with fat and cholesterol. When it was blocked with those things, and sometimes it also blocks due to the when old people become old, it also gets blocked. So when it gets blocked, the supply of blood to the heart muscle does not the blood does not supply to the heart muscle, so the heart does not function. So this is called as heart attack. And next, hello.
Hello, my name is C.H. Monica.
I'm
studying 10th class.
Ask
Hi,
the question.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I would like to congratulate you for getting an opportunity to teach in Mana TV.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Your teaching aids are good. Your
Okay.
language is good.
Okay. Ask the question, please.
Okay. Which blood vessels bring deoxygenated blood from the walls of the heart?
Which blood vessels brings deoxygenated
Blood
to which
from the
part?
walls of to the
What?
Which blood vessels bring deoxygenated blood from the walls of the heart to the right auricle?
To the right auricle.
Yeah.
Superior and inferior vena cava brings the deoxygenated blood from the different body organs to the right auricle. Okay?
Hello.
Ask the
Thank
question.
you. Thank you for giving
Okay.
good but right answer.
Okay, thank you. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello, ask the question, please.
I am a girl from Narsingi.
Uh,
I am Vijayalakshmi from APSWREIS.
okay, ask the question.
If a child has a hole in heart,
Uh,
is it curable?
yes, it is curable by the surgery. So, if we see the internal structure of the heart, there are 4 valves present in the heart. They are tricuspid valve in between the right auricle and right ventricle, and bicuspid valve in between the left auricle and left ventricle. Ask the question, please. Hello.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon.
I am Sai Krishna from Darsi.
Okay.
What are the 4 types of blood vessels to bring blood to the heart?
Yes. Systemic, the pulmonary, superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, pulmonary artery, and the pulmonary vein. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
And next, if we see the internal structure of heart, there are 4 valves present. One valve is in between tricuspid valve and bicuspid valve. One valve is tricuspid valve. Hello.
I'm from Narsingi. My question is, what is the difference between foramen oval and the fossa oval?
Foramen oval means it is the small pore which is present in between the 2 auricles. It is present in the embryonic stage in between the auricles. It is present on the interauricular septum, and this pore connects the right auricle and left auricle. So, at the time of the birth, when lungs begin to function, this foramen valve gets closed, and there is a small depression present on the interauricular septum, and that small depression is called as fossa valis. Okay. Hello. Hello. Ask the question, please. Hello.
Hello.
Ask the question, please, sir.
What is bypass surgery? Already tell about the bypass surgery. I don't understand that question. Please tell once more.
See, bypass surgery means sometimes the coronary artery which brings the oxygenated blood from the lungs to the heart muscles gets accumulated by the fat and cholesterol, so it gets blocked, so there is no supply of blood, sufficient amount of supply of blood. So this fat was removed by the surgery, and that surgery is called bypass surgery. Is it clear? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Ask madam, ask the question.
You get good opportunity in Mana TV.
Okay, thank you.
First of all, I tell congratulations to you.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay. What is circulatory system?
What is circulatory system means? The blood vessels and the heart. These three forms the circulatory system. And in the circulatory system, the heart is the chief organ. Is it clear? Thank you. Hello?
Hello, my name is Sahiti. I am from Pachu School.
Okay.
What is pre-high blood pressure?
Huh?
What is pre-high blood pressure?
High blood pressure means, see, normally the blood pressure of a person is 120 by 80. 120 is the systolic pressure and 80 is the diastolic pressure. But in some people, this blood pressure will be more than the 120 by 80. So when it is more than 120 by 80, it is called as high BP. Okay, thank you. So there are four valves in between the auricles and ventricles. Tricuspid valve in between the right auricle and right ventricle, and bicuspid valve in between the left auricle and left ventricle. Okay, this is about the structure and functioning of human heart. See, some people gets heart diseases also. It is by eating oil foods and by smoking and by taking alcohol. Such a disease is cardiac artery disease. And this cardiac artery disease means many students ask a question about the what is heart attack. This one, see, if we eat junk foods and oil foods, the fat in our body becomes more, and that fat is accumulated in the coronary artery, and that coronary artery was blocked by the fat. So when it was blocked by accumulated by the fat and cholesterol, the blood vessels become narrow. So there is less supply of blood to the heart. Such type of accumulation of fat in the coronary artery is called as ischemia, and this ischemia leads to the myocardial cells in the heart muscle. Was if the heart does not receive the sufficient amount of blood, the myocardial cells which were in the heart muscle were died. So don't take. So students, please, hello. Hello.
Hello, I am Brian from Asmura.
Good afternoon. Ask the question.
What is the function of foramen vowel?
What is the function of foramen vowel?
Yeah.
The foramen vowel means it is a pore, you know that, which is present on the interauricular septum, and this foramen vowel connects the right auricle and left auricle. It is present only in the stage of embryon of the fetal when a baby is in its embryonic stage, then only it is present on the interauricular septum. So it connects the right auricle and left auricle. Okay, is it clear? Hello. So students, so please suggest your elders and your parents not to drink alcohol and not to smoke and not to eat oil foods, because there are many diseases by eating oil foods and smoking and taking alcohol. So please suggest them, and I will say you that you will see really reading theoretical part of the lesson is more important, but you also think practically about the any lesson, if you think practically, you will know more about it. So, and after this is about the structure and function of human heart. No, we have learnt it today. So we have learnt it today, and if we in this lesson you learn. Hello.
Hello, Divya.
Sir.
I am Narendra sir from Narsingi.
Good afternoon, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Actually, I want to know what is heartbeat? A simple question.
What is heartbeat?
And also, what is the instrument used for